Hello, how are you? I am back again, and today I want to show you two handbags which have kind of had some colour change, and I want to tell you 5 reasons why you should not colour change your handbags. I feel very passionate about this. I feel like I got caught out. I feel like it was sold to me as such a good idea. I feel like everybody's like, yeah, if you don't love the bag, just colour change it, it's so good. And I've seen all these videos online of just like incredible transformations which just feel like such a good idea, and actually in reality I would say never ever do it. I have my reasons, I'm going to show you why, and yeah, I've got 2 bags which I think are a prime example of why you should not. And if you are ever getting a handbag restored, I think you should actively tell them don't use any paint, colour staining, colour changing style products, because actually one bag I colour changed intentionally, and the other bag I didn't intend for it to be colour changed. I will get into it. So the first reason is it's quite an expensive process. It can be up to around £100, sometimes more. I can't remember how much these ones cost me, but it was quite a while ago, and also I got some other work done to them at the same time. But I would say if you're looking for a ballpark figure, I would say you're going to be talking about £100, maybe £150 all in if you start kind of taking into account postage costs if you don't, like, you know, live in London or whatever. So it's quite an expensive process, and even though £150 doesn't get you to a designer handbag, if you were to buy a designer handbag on a pre-loved market, £150 would be a little bit of a chunk towards it. And I would say take that money, put it towards your next designer handbag, and just enjoy the bag as it is. For now, don't colour change it, just enjoy it as it is. Take that money, put it towards your next handbag. That is my first tip. Second of all, colour changing, people don't tell you this, but colour changing does not last forever. It is not a dye, it's actually more of a paint. So it sits on top, and actually it does need refreshing after, I would say, a couple of years. So I'm going to quickly show you an example of the wear and tear, but basically this bag was a beige and I got it colour changed to black, and already I've not even used it that much, but already you can see where the beige is showing through. It looks pretty bad and I'm not really happy with it. And this happened probably after about 2 wears. It just didn't work that well. Very quickly I suddenly started to see the wear and tear, yeah, the original colour coming through. And then after about 2 wears of it, I was like, I don't want to wear this bag anymore. And it literally has not been used since then. It's been kicking around my wardrobe for probably about 8 years now. And since I got it colour changed, I would say I wore it twice, but I would say maximum it's been worn 4 times. Like, that's ridiculous. And look how bad it looks. And I can only imagine if I had worn it more, it would look even worse. So yeah, it doesn't last forever, and actually it wears off quite quickly. Similarly, this one, I actually didn't intend for this to be colour changed. I intend for it just to be sparred, but as part of the sparring process, because I didn't really give them very specific instructions, they actually decided to colour change it, which I kind of regret, because yeah, it was a much darker leather. It was that real vintage Louis Vuitton kind of leather trim, which was almost the same colour as the coated canvas, and I quite liked it dark. I don't really know why they did this, but if you look at this bag, maybe the handle is a good place to show you. I hope you can see. But again, you can just see that it looks a bit like paint is peeling off. And it's annoying because I didn't even colour change it. Like, it's not like the bag strap was red. It was brown. It did not need to be painted. And it looks really ugly. And again, I got this colour changed. I got it restored, and I've probably used it, I want to say more like 10 times since I got it refurbed. At first, I was like, wow, it looks incredible. But very quickly, you can see that the paint that they've put over the leather is just not wearing well. It doesn't look good, and I am not happy with it. In an ideal world, I would get it redone, but to be honest, the cost of it being redone, I would rather take my own advice and put it towards my next designer handbag. So that is my next tip. Okay, next one. Now this is a bit of a controversial one, but right now, battered handbags are very much in style. If I had kept this bag battered like it was, with like all the mud and all the trashness about it, I actually think it would be a lot more fashionable to be wearing that bag than it would be to be wearing a badly restored, like chipping paint bag. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe if I wore this bag more and it looked more trashed, it would be better. But I actually think if I just kept it looking a bit rubbish, it would actually be a more fashionable bag, and it would just be a really like old vintage battered Chanel bag, which I think would be a much cooler look than a kind of what I consider to be quite a poorly restored bag. This to me is just not really, it's not giving chic, but it's not giving battered. It's just a bit like of a waste. So yeah, battered bags are in fashion. So next time you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna restore this bag, maybe just go with it and take the bag for like what it is, which is old, used, loved, a bit battered. Channel your inner Olsen twin and just wear it how it is. So that is my next one. Next thing you should know is that recoloring your bag will actually diminish the resale value. So if you are ever thinking about reselling your bag, you will have to declare it. The better companies will be able to instantly spot the fact that it's been recolored. They will declare it to their clients because they don't want to be like, you know, fooling their clients. And I just generally think that not only is the cost of recoloring it quite expensive, but when you come to resell it, it will actually take that money off the bag. Even if the bag looked quite trashed, people generally would prefer to buy a trashed original colour bag that's had a bit of a clean up than a trashed original bag which has then been recoloured and not well restored. So yeah, I would say do be careful because it will impede that resale value, and you might actually find in general it being quite hard to sell on. So I do think, just bear that in mind. Some people don't buy their bags with any intention to resell. I like to have the option of reselling it, and to be honest, if I could resell this bag, I would, but I don't think anybody's going to want it because the colour change, the wear and tear, it's just not very good. And to be honest, I wouldn't feel that comfortable reselling it because I feel like other people would be unhappy with it too. So I'm just putting it out there. It isn't good for your resale value, just so you know. Finally, I personally think, and I think if you speak to a lot of experts, they will agree, but colour changing your bag can often make the bag feel not quite right. And if you ask experts, a lot of the times when you're authenticating designer bags, you know, there are definite markers to look out for, you know, the stitching, the labels, the branding, you know, the fabric quality, all those kind of things. But sometimes what you're looking for, especially with the super fakes, is this feeling of like, it's just not quite right. And you can't quite put your finger on why it's not quite right. It could just be like the most minute details here and there, but there is this feeling of like, it's just not quite right. Quite frankly, I would rather have a battered old bag that just looks like a battered old designer bag than a battered designer bag which has been kind of like restored and isn't wearing very well, and then you're a bit like, is this real? Is this fake? What's with that bag? You know, if a bag makes you do this, then it's not good. So yeah, that is my personal opinion. I do think that restored handbags, if they've not been done that well, or even if they have been done that well but they've just not worn well, it can give you that feeling of fake. Like if you were to walk past me in the street and notice some of this damage to the paint, you'd be like, that's weird. And you'd almost be a bit like, is that bag fake? And it's not. It just kind of gives it that vibe. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that is my video. I hope that makes sense. I hope that I have shared my wisdom with you. And if you have any questions, let me know. And yeah, I hope my bags have been a good example of why you really shouldn't colour change your bags. I really do feel passionate about this. I feel like there's way too many people colour changing their bags and they are going to massively regret it, because I have, and I wish I hadn't. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you so much. Goodbye.